Welcome to the Sovereign Teacher. I teach tarot. I teach spiritual integration through tarot, family constellations, and embodiment. You can probably hear the saw down in the basement. Okay. I'm going to start with a reading from the Divine Beloved deck. And today is February 28th, and we're reading the energies for February 28th. The moon is now in Leo, and I don't know about you, but I woke up to this feeling of being in my, I heard this somewhere, but this is what it felt like, being in my higher heart. And the feeling, if I could describe it, it was kind of like being in heaven. There's light and love all around, and there's nothing but love. That is what it felt like this morning, watching my German Shepherd, to me. So I don't know if that was the Leo energy or there was some sort of shift, but anybody else experiencing that kind of feeling in their bodies, in their lives? Okay, let's pull a card from the Divine Beloved. Not matching the energy of what's happening in the world that you see out there. So if you're very tuned into news or media or social media, you are probably feeling a totally different vibe in your nervous system. So it's okay to disconnect from that. You can disconnect from that. We all have our own world that we're living in, and it's what you connect to. So what you're choosing to connect to. And you can bring your own light and love into the world and impact the world in your way. You don't have to just fall into the narrative that's being given to you by whatever you're taking in. That's a narrative, and if you take that narrative in, it becomes your narrative and you start living that. But if you start meditating and quieting your mind and going into stillness, going out into nature, you clear yourself, so you then only are resonating and vibrating and experiencing who you truly are, which is love and light. And then you project that out into the world, and you create your own narrative and your own vision, and you begin to impact the world with your own co-creation with life, with the divine, with God, or a spiritual partner. And in that way, you can impact the world. And you're not just living out someone else's narrative, which, as somebody who has gotten a divorce recently, and was like really like living out the narrative of their partner, who the more I loved myself and chose myself, the more I realized that is not my story, that's not my narrative, and they don't seem to be, we're not connecting anymore. So I needed to get a divorce to move out of that narrative. And when I did start getting the divorce, I realized I didn't have a story. There was like this emptiness, this vacuum, and I didn't know what the story was. And that was strange, but it was actually very freeing to not have a story, to not be living in a story. And I just was very present in the moment and listened to Spirit, God, and God spoke to me through many different ways: songs, music, nature, tarot card readings, and I would get confirmation from all these different sources. So the same messages I would get over and over again from different sources, and then just taking it one step, one decision at a time. Okay, so I haven't gotten one of these cards yet because I'm talking and I'm not focused. Oh, one just jumped out. Beauty, I am a spark of divinity. Okay. Change me, divine beloved, into one who knows without question my own beauty, worthiness, and desirability. Let me remember constantly who I am, love itself, in a temporary human form. Isn't that beautiful and so appropriate? I have like a Cindy Lou Who hair on top of my head. Okay, now I'm gonna get a card from the Light Seers Tarot. I hope my dog is behaving herself. Okay, what does Spirit want us to know today? What is the energy and how can we best work with it? Most of the people in the neighborhood know her already. Okay. The King of Cups. They seem okay. The King of Cups. The Two of Wands. Oh, we got more than one. The Two of Wands. So maybe we have a little story here. The King of Pentacles. And the Three of Cups. So I'm just going to tune into these ones for a little bit and see what comes up for me. Sometimes I do a reading and then later on I'm like, oh, now I get it. And that's like so frustrating because I don't get to share it and it comes in a little bit later. So if I just focus a little bit, maybe I will get it now. This does seem very Leo energy to me. Light shining through us, love shining through us out into the world. Drawing from our own cup. And the Two of Wands. King of Pentacles. Happy, peaceful, relaxed. Trusting your internal leadership. And connecting and finding community and support. So making a choice from love. From this foundation of love, what you love and what you value, making a choice from that. And then looking out into the world and seeing what's coming back at you. And then resting in a lot of masculine energy. Then resting in stillness, knowing that your good is coming and following your own internal leadership and voice. Seeing and knowing that the good is coming back to you. And then connecting with others, with like-minded others and people that are speaking to you and their energy is connecting with you. So that is what we need to focus on right now. And I do think we want to get an archetype card. So let's check the archetype cards. What archetype is coming up? And is this archetype working with us or is it working against us? And like archetypes are big patterns or stories. So let's look at what we're up against is how I'm thinking about it. We're up against the trickster, which can be like a devilish energy. So the light attribute of the trickster is transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. And the shadow attribute is manipulating others through duplicity. Okay, so a lot of us are kind of facing our own inconsistencies or contradictions. And this, I'm not saying that this won't happen again because I don't know. But this is what happened to me right before I was getting my divorce. I was realizing that my relationship wasn't what I was telling myself it was. That there were a lot of things that I didn't want to see because I was a marriage and family therapist. I was supposed to know better. I was supposed to be a guide for other people. And so I couldn't have a marriage that was I'm being careful about what judgment words I use, but that wasn't as healthy as I had really wanted it to be. And in fact, I wasn't as healthy as I had thought and wanted myself to be. Having all this therapy and being a therapist, I was supposed to be a lot healthier. And my marriage was supposed to be a lot healthier. And when I had to face that it wasn't and that I wasn't, that was a really hard pill to swallow. And I think that's what a lot of people are either going through now or will be going through. And it's really, really tough. But if we can do it and we can use the support that we have around us, God, whatever you believe in, whatever higher power you believe in, even if it's just your higher self or your dog, I don't know. I don't know. People have different ways of looking at things, and that's okay. It's whatever it is for you. But a higher power, the universe, God, your higher self, life, your ancestors, whatever resources you have, tap into those and allow them to guide you into a more authentic, more aligned life. And when you do that, when you can do that, you will be in a much better place. And I can tell you that having gone through a lot of that, and I'm not saying that I won't go through it more, and maybe we just keep going through it, I don't know. Having gone through that, I know I don't know as much as I thought I knew. And so I'm very open to, I really don't know. But I am living a more authentic life now. I'm happier, I'm freer, I'm at peace. My nervous system is relaxed. So it's for your greater good. It's for your greater good and the greater good of the world. Okay, so now I want to get a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle, or whatever comes out, and maybe more than one. So the trickster, so the light attribute, transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. Like, there are these stories of how we are supposed to be, like my story of the therapist. I'm supposed to be a guide. I'm supposed to be healthy. I'm supposed to have a healthy marriage. And I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. There are these stories of that. And so it's a lot of letting go of that. Letting go of the stories that, okay, that didn't end up being true. So what is true? And that is actually what I asked God. I'm like, all right, if this isn't true, what is true? What is real? And the answer that I got was, your love is real, and you will receive that love back. And that has been true. I am finding that to be true. I'm receiving that love back from different places than I was looking for it. It didn't come from all the places I was looking for it. In fact, I needed to look in a completely different direction, one I never would have looked in. But that is where I found it. I found it in my own imperfection. I was looking for it in what I thought was perfection, but it wasn't real. It's funny how that happened. And we got the fates. So I'm going to read that one because I just want to read that one, but I do want to show it to you. Look how happy and comforted she is and how magical. How much self-love she has. And that's a number 17, which is an 8. Fate, karma, acceptance. Kind of waiting for that to be over, but acceptance that there are things you cannot change and knowing what those things are. And that's kind of what I was just talking about, right? The Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in life you will never have control over. Other people is one of them. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, which we're seeing a lot of now, by nature and by your past experiences may be fated. Preordained by spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. And that is something that I keep getting hung up on because I really am so curious and I just want to know. But it keeps me in my head and not in my heart when I go there. And you're not just living out your story and the story of your culture or and your ancestors. You're living, well, you're living out the story of your ancestors and your culture and the world. So you can't blame yourself for all of it because there's so much that you're living that wasn't yours and you've just accepted and taken in. And a lot of it's unconscious. That's also why I do family constellations. You can bring a lot of that unconscious out up to the surface and make it conscious. See it and make different choices. It's such an amazing method of healing. And it's so, I love it. It's also fun. I find it to be less emotional and heavy than therapy too. And so when I do it too, I just started incorporating, I have a steel drum, which I have right in front of me. So I have people in the group pass the drum around so that any energy that we're all carrying or holding, we can kind of like transmit it through the drum. And I want to get more drums too to have everybody be able to do that. Because some of these energies are so heavy and hard to deal with. So you're sharing it as a group when you do family constellations. You're sharing it with the group, so it's not as heavy. And I love using these tools of music and to ground it. And I want to incorporate a little bit of Tai Chi, and I did one with yoga too before, so it's really fun if you're interested in doing that. I will put that on my website, which I don't think I published that yet, but I once I get that all up and running, I'll be able to see that. Okay, where was I? The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and your current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. And I want to say something about that too, because as a therapist and somebody who was parentified as a child and lived through trauma that was passed down, my coping mechanism was, I'm an empath, so I would project my energy out into the environment, so I knew what to expect and try to control the environment so it didn't, like, I wasn't raged at, or nothing bad would happen, because I would see it in advance and I would know how to handle it and manage it. But that was a lot of energy, and it took a lot of energy to do that. And I'm trying to let go of that now as my body relaxes and my nervous system relaxes, because I'm safe now. This is what I'm letting go of right now, is managing that environment, managing things, and just what I'm realizing now, which is so cool, is that I don't need to take care of everything out there. And you don't need to take care of everything out there in the world either. If you just take care of what's right here, at first it's your own inner environment, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual. But I'm moving outward a little bit. And right now it's my home environment and whatever comes into my life. But I was hermiting for a while, and so I was going in and I was really taking care of myself. And I realized I needed to go back out into the world. So as I was going back into the world, I went too far. I started to like listen to things and like, I need to take care of that. I need to do this for the world. I need to do that. And I started to get overwhelmed and just was doing too much, and realized my world is right here. This is my world. I didn't know my place before. I thought it was taking care of everyone in the whole world. And what I'm realizing now is my place is right here in my home. And if I choose to go out into the world and I meet a person, that is whatever I'm meeting or encountering is what is my world and what I can respond to. Not react, but respond. Take it in. Ask myself, what is the lesson? What is, just let it settle into me, and how do I want to respond? And it's always, for me, I want to put more love out into the world. So how can I respond with love? And sometimes it's like, no, it's a no, like that is not, I don't, it's that discernment of, okay, no, that is not my world. I don't want that in my world. And sometimes I can just transmute it into, or I don't know what the word is really, I can change it into love. I can respond in a loving way and affect change in somebody who's emitting fear or something else. But there are certain people who are not able to take anything in. And I know that right away. And I'll just, for example, narcissistic people, or people who suffer from narcissism, because it's not a person really, it's something they're suffering from. But they're also choosing not to get help, and they're choosing to behave in the same way until it becomes too painful for them, and maybe they make a different decision. But I'm really good at discerning that now and just saying, nope, nope, nope. Walking away from it, knowing it and walking away from it, and interacting with people who can receive, and maybe they can't give back right away, but I'm not asking for that because I'm okay where I am. I have enough that I can just overflow that love. And sometimes I don't, and I have to go in and take care of me until I can. But that realization of my world is right here. Whatever I encounter right here is my world. And that's all I need to take care of. Myself, my own emotions, my body, and whatever I allow into my environment. Whatever meets me. And that makes it so much easier. Because if we all know our place, we have power in our place. We don't have power if we move too far off center. That's something else I'm learning in Tai Chi. To stay in my center. And if I move too far out of center, I don't have power. So I just offer that to any of you out there who may be struggling with that. Because it was kind of, for me, a profound realization that really, really helped me and was very freeing. So I'm going to end the reading here and go in peace and love and take care of you and your world.